everyone, and welcome to the first episode of Talking with Our Traders of 2025, a Caesar Sportsbook original series. This is where we sit down with our very own Caesar Sportsbook traders and dive deep into everything NFL and college football. I'm your host, Cindy Edwards, and with me today, as always, is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesar Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
How are your holidays? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Yeah, it was like
Is it the year of the favourite still?
Yeah, I think it's still the year of the favorites.
I hope not.
Hopefully the
It's
year
the
of the dog.
snake, apparently.
Oh.
I did look it up.
The year of the snake.
A dog.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Ooh. All right, let's dive into some college football. Guys, did the college football committee get the playoff right?
Yes, I believe they did in two parts. One part, they probably didn't get it right. That's the seeding. They probably should rethink the seeding and putting the better teams at the top, because we've seen the kind of difference of these really top teams versus these kind of bottom tier teams. But we saw the product Alabama put on the field, and it wasn't like they weren't trying. They just weren't good enough to beat Michigan. So maybe by that logic, they should put Michigan in. I don't know. But I think from the actual teams they put in, they got right. Seeding, they kind of need to rethink who gets a bye, who doesn't. We saw Arizona State compete to the very end of that game. Just wasn't good enough to get the win. But there's still a disparity between these top teams and then the other teams below.
Right. Craig, do you agree?
Yeah. One competitive game in 7 so far doesn't speak that they've got it right. The only game I've watched to its extent was Arizona and Texas, which was a great game. But even then, after the first quarter, you're thinking this is just like all the others.
Yeah.
At least I got to the half of some of the other games. I stopped watching Ohio State and Oregon after the first quarter. Lessons will be learned.
Yeah.
You're not going to get it right first year anyway. Joey's perfectly correct. Like the haves and the have-nots are different when you get to this time of year. And it said when all the lower seeds are double-digit double-digit favourites. One thing I might suggest, if you're the defending champion, you should have an automatic spot in the playoffs regardless. Because Michigan came to play.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, guys, is the Big Ten better than the SEC?
The top is better. If we're looking at Ohio State's probably clearly the best team right now, but Indiana probably mid at best. And then you look at like a kind of a mid-level Vanderbilt. They could compete with most of the Big Ten outside of that upper echelon. And we'll still see probably Penn State with their pants down in these next couple games.
Yeah. Joey's correct. The depth is better in the SEC, but the type of football and the style of football is what I prefer in the Big Ten. Panache and flash didn't quite work in that monsoon the other day. Run the ball well, great defense, grind out wins. That's Big Ten's identity, always has been. So if you want marquee, you watch the SEC games. But if you want proper football, you watch the Big Ten games.
I like it. Biggest surprise of the college football playoff quarterfinals?
I think for me, Ohio State just really beating the brakes off Oregon.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. It was also impressive to see Arizona State compete at a high level, especially how they went into the season, expected to be a bottom-tier team, and Cam Scatterbo throwing up on the sidelines, just really have all that heart on the field. But overall, it's Ohio State's dominance in these last two games has been very surprising.
I thought it was how rusty the teams off of bye looked. And that, to me, is poor coaching.
Yeah.
You're the highest seed. You should be prepared better. It was always, don't give Nick Saban 2 weeks heading into a college playoff.
Right.
So he's prepped. These teams looked awful, like out the gate. And Arizona did make it respectable at the end and had every chance to win the game. But even then, their first quarter was a disaster. Texas scored, they had 4 offensive plays and scored 17 points.
No problem. Ran a punt back.
Exactly, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, and that will come to play in the NFL in the coming weeks.
Exactly.
Okay, Joey, this question's for you. Does Craig owe Penn State an apology?
Look, Penn State has beat 2 non-Power 4 teams. Yes, SMU is technically the ACC, but they were a non-Power 4 before. So, and then they're going to get maybe a mid-Notre Dame team or a Georgia team without their quarterback. No, Craig doesn't owe an apology yet. If they win the national championship, then yes. But otherwise, yeah, Penn State hasn't done anything out of extraordinary thus far.
Craig, thoughts?
As a family man, I spend a lot of time apologising for things that are not my fault. I don't see a ring on Penn State's finger just yet. So No, I do not.
That's what
However,
it will take to get the apology.
I'll send Justin a bottle of wine if Penn State win it.
I like it. All right, let's move into some NFL. We are in week 18, guys. How crazy.
I know. Time flies.
Time flies when you're having fun. How do teams resting their starters ahead of the playoffs affect betting lines?
It's the equivalent of a Big Ten team playing either a team from the SEC or a team from the Mountain West. Looking at the Chiefs, if they were full strength, this would be at least Chiefs -3.5. It's now Broncos -10.5. Buffalo -2 versus Buffalo -10. Eagles -18.5 versus Eagles -3. So it is a big comparison, basically playing the starters versus the B squad. And that's the difference to me of a Big Ten team playing the SEC or a Mountain West non-Power 4 team.
I can't say it any better. I mean, it's huge. It's such a
huge.
minefield. You got to look at motivation for teams, incentives, who's actually playing, who's not. I mean, as we were walking up, I saw the Browns have pretty much rested the entire team, which they've done all year anyway, by the way. The Chiefs would not be a 10.5-point dog against the Broncos. I made them 3, you made them 3.5, so pretty
Right.
close. So yeah, it's just a minefield for a sportsbook and obviously for bettors as well.
Yeah, I was going to say for bettors, do you see that bettors are aware and they're kind of staying away? Or?
And handle will drop off. There's only 7
Yeah.
competitive games this week, so you're not going to have a normal sized bet on Texans versus Titans this week when you don't know what's going on and who's
Right.
playing and whatever.
Right.
So you just have an interest bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
All right.
my advice.
If the Bengals end up making the playoffs, should Joe Burrow win MVP?
No. No, the Bengals will make the playoffs with the help of others. It's not going to be just them getting the wins. I mean, obviously, they've gotten enough wins to this point where they win, but they're going to need the help with the Dolphins. They're going to need the help with the backup Chiefs. So
Yeah.
that, to me, doesn't scream MVP of having to rely on other teams to get in the playoffs.
To be fair, he leads the entire league in passing and passing touchdowns. It's the defense that's really kind of letting him down.
Yeah, well, Stats didn't win the Heisman, did it?
Yeah? No, they did not.
Does he deserve it? Maybe on his stats alone.
Yeah.
But they're a 500 team. They're an 18-1 shot to get into the playoffs because they need the Chiefs, the Dolphins, and the Bengals money line. And you got to parlay that up to get that number.
Right.
MVPs don't give the team ahead of you in the playoff race chances like the Bengals gave the Broncos the other night. That clock management in the end of the fourth quarter was disastrous. And then you got lucky because the Broncos let you off because all they needed was a tie and could have just ran the ball out and they chose not to. MVPs are not in that situation. And if that's Patrick Mahomes, do you reckon they're seeing a minute and a half left on the clock?
I don't know.
They're not even
You're
running
asking
the
the
ball.
wrong girl. But isn't that a coaching thing?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
Like, cool and audible.
I'm a big Burrow backer. I think
I
he's
love
just
Burrow.
surrounded by people that are letting him down. This is his year. He should really be MVP if he had a coach that was maybe coaching better and a defense that was maybe playing better.
But he's also got a wide receiver who's going to win the Triple
Yeah,
Crown.
yep.
Yeah.
I will say that.
Yeah.
That is very true.
And also, he's only getting these stats because the defense is so bad. He's getting the ball more often.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's all stat padding anyway.
Padding.
So no, I can't have it.
Okay. Well, great
I was
conversation,
interested to see
guys.
the price though. It was 20-1.
Yeah, that shifted after that game, right?
It would.
Yeah. Okay. Speaking of the Chiefs, with the Chiefs resting their starters in Week 18, does the long rest time help or hurt their Super Bowl chances?
Overall, it helps them, or else they wouldn't do it. I mean,
Okay. Yeah.
the NFL season is such a bigger grind for NFL players than the trading department, even as much as we'd like to complain. And having those additional rest days just helps you get time to be physically get healthy and mentally be able to prepare for whatever opponent. And this isn't the Chiefs' first rodeo. You know, they haven't won back-to-back Super Bowl champions on a fluke. They know what they're doing, and they have time to prepare and have learned more than, let's say, the Broncos have to this point. So, yeah, I think it definitely helps them. You'll have some ring rust, but I think the positives outweigh the negatives.
It is a big chunk of time.
Yeah, but they've earned it.
Yeah.
And he's about to have baby number 3 anytime soon, isn't he? So congratulations. Right. As we saw in the college playoffs, rust was a huge factor, but my argument would be is the coaching skill set is completely different. This is Andy Reid. Andy Reid off a bye is very, very dangerous. Yeah. Andy Reid off 2 byes, probably even worse. They've been there, done it before. They're looking to be the first team to three-peat. They will be fully prepared. I might be interested in betting punt, first outcome of their first drive, game 1. But after that, it'll be the Chiefs again.
That's good.
Okay.
That's
After that first drive, I like it. Okay, looking ahead to the playoffs, are there any teams you guys think are being slept on?
I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are being slept on slightly, just from what is being slept on mean? Someone who is good, who isn't perceived as that good.
Yeah.
And I think also the Minnesota Vikings as well kind of fit that category we talked about for weeks. Are the Packers the most dangerous? Are the Lions the most dangerous? Vikings have a chance to get this number 1 seed and the NFC North, so I think they're being slightly slept on as well.
I agree with you on the Vikings for sure.
If I'm Detroit or Minnesota, I do not want to go to Tampa Bay.
No. I agree.
Mm.
Tampa's that team that can lose to anyone, but they can also beat anyone.
And they should have beat some very good teams.
Yeah.
Of my highest rated teams, not in the top 5 in the betting, I had Green Bay. They took it to Dallas last year in the playoffs. They should have beaten San Francisco in the playoffs. Not really as a shock as a sleeper team, but they're like my 5th, 6th best team in my ratings. And 16-1, so maybe, but that's a tough route in the NFC.
Yeah. It'll be a grind.
All right, guys. Favorite Week 18 game for the total to go under? Craig, you're the under king. Start us off.
I am after last week. How about that one?
Big time.
Yeah.
Big
moved
time.
10 points.
Insane.
And still stayed under 32.
Yeah, wow.
Oh, my. Just shows 2 bad teams.
Yeah, pat on the back for Craig.
Yeah, I get one.
What do you got this week?
We are going with Wind and Rain, not the 70s band Joey likes, but Houston, Tennessee. Neither team are motivated.
Yeah.
Backups. It's a low total. I think it's 37, 38.
Yeah.
But as we saw last week, 32, no problem.
No problem. I went Jets Miami under 39.
I almost had that.
Yeah, I think that's just screams under to me in that spot. Miami's still injured. I mean, they got an outside chance of the playoffs. It's going to be tough with these, whether the Chiefs want, to compete in that game or not.
Right.
But yeah, I like that one under 39.
Okay, guys. Favorite Week 18 game for the total to go over? Joey, start us off.
Bengals Steelers over 48. Joe Burrow putting up numbers, and Bengals not playing great defense. So
I went same division, same day. But I'm very, very nervous because there's like 18-mile-an-hour winds for the first quarter of this game.
Oh, wow.
But I think the Ravens wrap up the division. Lamar Jackson gives Josh Allen a scare for the MVP. Ravens probably cover this total themselves. The Browns, masterclass in tanking last week. I just think Baltimore covers that number themselves. It's 41.5.
Yeah.
I like it.
And the danger with the Pittsburgh-Cincy game is that Pittsburgh might already know their fate, but Pittsburgh still need to win because you want to avoid going to Baltimore.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Everybody wants Houston, so a win
Everybody
gets
wants Houston.
Yeah.
Exactly. That 5 seeds covered it.
Favorite Week 18 team to cover the spread?
I got the Minnesota Vikings +3. Again, we're going back. I think we'll talk about it in the game preview, but I like them in that spot.
Craig?
Chiefs +10.5. Carson Wentz is not that bad a quarterback.
No.
Yeah, I like that.
He might ball out. I wouldn't be surprised.
They're not resting all 55 players on the team, are they?
Right.
They'll still have some pride to pay for. And wouldn't you rather just knock your own divisional opponent out the playoffs with your backups?
Right.
Yeah.
You think it's possible the backups end up breaking that 30-point kind of total that the Chiefs can't get past?
Because they've got nothing to play for, nothing to lose. So we'll just let it loose.
Yeah, but Surtain's pretty good on that defense, so we'll see.
As you will see in the pick later.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, pick an NFL upset for Week 18.
The Jags versus the Colts. This one probably not really an edge here, but I think this Colts team overall is absolutely demoralized after the last week's loss. And the Jags really haven't quit, and they got nothing to play for, so why not?
I'm going Vikings over the Lions because the Lions can't stop a bus right now. They're
No.
Yeah,
they
their
cannot.
defense is bad.
injured.
Injured, yeah. Injured. That's a better word
I mean, the
for it, huh?
49ers literally ran it up and down the field. And
Yeah.
if they had a kicker, they'd have won that game.
Yeah, I only watched till halftime. I was surprised when I woke up and the Lions won, to be honest.
I wouldn't have been.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Build your 3-leg anytime touchdown score parlay. Craig, you'll build one. Joey, you'll build one. We'll see if one can cash in week 18. Why not?
Why not?
Craig, start us off.
All right. This one's probably get taken down for liability again. We're going to go Davante Adams because Rodgers is sat on 499 career touchdowns, and of course he's going to give it to his boy.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz is playing with the backups. We're going Denver defensive special teams. And
Okay.
the great Patrick Surtain. His dad was very good. You're all too young to remember him. And we're going to go Ravens D as well.
Oh, it's a defensive week.
Yeah, because of the weather and the wind.
Yeah.
I just think that, and they looked awful again. If Tyler Huntley made you look good, then
Something's wrong. Okay, I like it. Joey, give us what you got for your
You know what?
week 18.
I went chalky, which Craig always loves to see, but I
Yeah.
also went incentive based. Mike Evans to get in.
that's why I had him the other week.
Jamar Chase to get in to get the Triple Crown. Cortland Sutton to get in against the Chiefs defense.
Yeah.
A little chalky, but we'll see if we can cash one at the end.
Nothing new for you.
Yeah, let's get it. All right, if you guys like either of these parlays, you can tail them on the Caesars Sportsbook app. Craig, you've mentioned weather a bit throughout this episode. What should we be looking out for this weekend?
That's pretty much it. I've mentioned it.
Oh, okay.
Houston and Tennessee will be wind and rain. 100% chance of rain throughout the game. 18-mile-an-hour winds. And the first quarter, first half, Cleveland, Baltimore will be strong. That'll be 22.5-mile-an-hour winds.
All right. Are you guys ready for some overreaction or not?
Always.
We are ready.
Overreaction or not, both Aaron Rodgers and Davante Adams will not be a New York Jet next season.
Not an overreaction. I expect Aaron Rodgers to be gone and maybe Devontae to go get paid.
Yeah, not an overreaction. Rodgers will go first, play his GM role at his new team, and then get Adams after for an overpriced draft pick.
Yeah, there you go.
You think Adams regrets kind of going to the Jets? Or you think it's like it was a wash either way, so why not?
Yeah.
You can choose your friends, you can't choose your family. Remember that one.
Overreaction or not, Brock Bowers is the best tight end in football.
Slight overreaction. And that pains me to say it, as probably most people in this office know how much of a big Brock Bowers fan. And he
Yeah.
should be a Ram. I'll make that clear. Is he great? Yes. Will he remain great? Yes. But it also does not hurt to be the only star on the receiving core for the Raiders and why
Yeah.
he's getting the ball so much. So
I'd love to
Yeah.
know who you have over him.
Quite a lot.
quite a
Quite a
there's
lot?
A few.
Yeah.
There's a few.
A list?
I think Trey McBride is
Okay.
up there as
Kittle,
yeah.
Andrews,
Yeah.
Jono Smith.
All right.
Jonnu Smith, especially this year, has really kind of shown to be that upper echelon, especially on a room of a lot of good receivers. He has been absolutely clutch.
Isaiah Likely.
That one's a
Likely's hit or
stretch,
miss.
but I think Brock Bowers is very good, but is he the best? No, not
I love
yet.
how neither
Not
of
yet,
you
maybe.
neither of you mentioned Kelsey.
I was about to.
Really?
Yeah.
He's older.
Yeah,
But he's older.
he's looking old. Overreaction
Hang
or
on.
not,
He leads the league in targets, receptions, yards, and first downs.
Brock Bowers.
Yeah. But one season, your first season, and as Joey said, you're on the Raiders, and he's the only person you can throw the ball to. He's in the conversation, but he's not number one.
Pro Bowl as a rookie, not bad. Overreaction or not, the Patriots will draft Travis Hunter if they keep that number one pick.
What do you think? You're the Patriots expert.
Yeah.
I think maybe, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah, it's not an overreaction. We know one thing for sure. They're not going quarterback.
No.
They got their quarterback of the future for at least right now. We'll see
Yeah.
how it pans out if he develops. But they have a lot of holes to fill, and maybe Travis Hunter fills two of them.
It's true.
Overreaction. The number one pick should be an organizational game changer. He is not an organization game changer.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not the best receiver in the draft. He's not the best cornerback in the draft.
Right.
And there's a ton of mileage on his young body already. And you know what I would do?
Also, a lot of drama.
trade
Trade out.
Yeah.
Trade out.
You've got
You don't
that
even
one
have to
pick.
ask.
Stockpile everything else.
The problem is, it's we're already starting to think about draft, which just makes me angry. But there's not really that key piece. Like, so that number one pick might not have that value to trade out of. Like, because who's trading up for Shadur Sanders? Like, he's not going to be your monumental, like, oh, this is a once in a lifetime quarterback. So it's going to be an interesting draft of who's valued and who's not. It's going to be weird.
Is this why the Giants and the Raiders started trying to win games?
Maybe.
Because it saves you a ton of money not picking first and overpaying the number one pick.
Right,
I was actually going to ask about your thoughts on the Giants getting that win.
There was a huge sigh of relief in this building on Sunday.
Yeah, there was big time. I mean, it was
A lot of parlays.
It's the only the only dog to win last week.
Yeah. The Giants have no reason to win that game at all.
Yeah.
But they just kept fighting, and it kind of shows. These are NFL teams, and tanking might not be in the cards for these teams where it's like, this is our final couple weeks. We're about to have a big break. I may be competing and kind of previewing for another team that's going to pick me up next year.
Exactly.
So that's still in the mindset, and it shows these teams aren't just going to quit just because.
Yeah. Overreaction or not, the Eagles resting Saquon Barkley and not letting him attempt to break the all-time rushing record is a bad move.
Overreaction. You have a chance to win a Super Bowl. This is a team sport. It is fun to let him attempt to break the rushing record, but what if he goes out there, he gets hurt, and then you're hurt for the playoffs?
Yeah.
Sitting him's the right move.
This one bothers me a lot.
Okay.
A huge overreaction. First of all, we're talking about Saquon Barkley breaking the rushing record of Eric Dickerson's. Eric Dickerson did it in 16 games. Barkley's 100 yards short in 16 games, so don't give him the 17th game to get past this, okay? I get it. It's a record, and because you play more games.
Yeah.
But no, if you couldn't beat it in the 16 that he did it, then you shouldn't even
It's
be in
not
the
even worth
conversation.
it.
However, on the flip side, those that know me, I like to play games. You've got an opportunity to stick it to the Giants, let Barkley break the record against his former team, divisional opponent. I mean, that'd be brilliant. If he didn't need 100 odd yards, I'd probably say play him if it was like 50 or 60, because he can knock that out at a half and then get him off the field. Because it's 100, I think it's just a bit too much. But I think it's disrespectful of Dickerson's record that they're giving it so much love. And 2,000 is a tremendous number.
Yeah,
Don't
it's a
get
good
me wrong.
number.
It's a fair point. It's a fair
different
point.
different style league, especially with how much passing is now versus Dickerson's time.
Dickerson didn't win any MVP that year either.
Yeah, I think
Dan Marino.
Dan Marino, famous
course.
Dolphin. It's almost a positive too for Saquon to be like, no, boo boo, I don't even have to play in this game because we're already set.
Oh, yeah. He's flexing either way.
big time.
But what's more important? What does Saquon not have? Exactly the same Penn State doesn't have this year, a ring yet.
Oh,
In my mind, if Saquon really wanted it, he would voice that, and I think they would listen to him and let him play.
Now, here's a lot of credit to Saquon, and it's a classy move because he could have broke the single game rushing record against the Giants and chose not to.
Yeah.
So give credit where credit's due to Barkley. Yes, is he up there? Is it a tremendous season? One of the best seasons of all time for a running back. But you showed class when you didn't run it up on your team.
Yeah.
And you're showing class again now. So fair play to you.
Yeah. I'm assuming they gave him that kind of same option, maybe, where he sat down and he asked, like, hey, if you want
it's about
to,
winning a Super Bowl.
we'll let you.
That's the name of the game.
They got to get there. Overreaction or not, Sam Darnold is the quarterback of the future in Minnesota.
Overreaction. We saw Kirk there the past couple of years. Great,
Yeah.
Kirk this year, not so much.
Not great.
I'm not saying that Sam Darnold isn't a good quarterback, but I think this is a system in Minnesota. So don't overpay a quarterback you don't need to. We've seen that hurt many teams this year. The Jags with Trevor Lawrence. We've seen plenty of overpaying, and now there goes all your salary crap. Do not overpay him when you need to. I think maybe Sam Darnold, if he's available to go somewhere else and get paid, good for him. But
Yeah.
I think you can still build on J.J. McCarthy or have another veteran come in. And with this system with Justin Jefferson, it's going to work. So
He's a free agent, isn't he?
yeah, I think it was a 1 year.
Yep.
Yeah. If the price is right, then maybe he's a short-term future because you've still got McCarthy on a rookie contract. However, if he wins the Super Bowl, some team will overpay and he will be gone. And then we'll see the Sam Darnold of old. He fits the system. Tremendous receiving core. And like Joe Burrow, he looks good because he's got Jamar Chase. And Sam Darnold looks good because he's got Justin Jefferson. And what a catch that was the other day, even though he got called back.
I know. Insane. Overreaction or not, Kyle Shanahan should be on the hot seat this offseason for the 49ers.
It's your boy.
Not an
One of the best ever.
One of the best ever. Yeah. Not an overreaction. I think this was the last year with this group of massive talent for the 49ers, and they couldn't deliver.
Yeah.
The Super Bowl hangover was too much, and injuries also hurt you during that time. So it might be time to rebuild in San Fran and basically mutually agree to go part ways. My brother, a big Bears fan, was hoping that maybe the Bears might trade for Shanahan, get him over there, and maybe that kind of attractive offense might be something that Shanahan would want to build upon. But yeah, I think it could be good for San Fran to rebuild because they're going to lose a lot of talent because their contracts are coming up.
Yeah.
And mutually part ways, and then rebuild the Niners back up.
He's been to 4 NFC championships in 6 years and 2 Super Bowls. That's more success than some coaches have seen in a lifetime. He has enough credit in the bank in San Francisco that he should be given at least a couple of years to rebuild, and then he's on the hot seat. But no, he's done nothing to deserve being on the hot seat. Injuries aren't his fault.
No,
Fair.
it's fair.
Okay, guys, let's get into some game previews for Week 18. We spoke about this one a little bit. We've got Bengals versus Steelers on Saturday night. There are playoff implications on the line for both teams. The Bengals need to win and have Denver and Miami lose, while the Steelers are battling for seeding and a potential AFC North title if the Ravens lose. Joey, what should we expect from this one?
Yeah, like you said, both teams need a win on this game. The Bengals need to win to keep the playoffs alive. Steelers need to win to covet that 5 seed or win the AFC North if the minus 18 Ravens lose, which is simply not going to happen.
Yeah.
It was 18 and a half when I left my desk.
The Steelers have had an epic 3-game skid against 3 great teams. Bengals are boasting a 4-game win streak against 4 mid teams. This will be a very competitive game. Steelers have the Bengals number in the past few years with a 4-1 record. I like the Bengals in this spot, especially if Chase Brown plays. I think the Bengals team wants to go out with a bang and leave that sliver of hope for the playoffs, and hope that the Chiefs' backups are better than the Broncos and the Dolphins do their thing and lose. Movement towards the Steelers in this one, going from 2.5 to 1.5. We have seen some sharp action on the Bengals here, but give me the Bengals minus 1.5.
I like it. Craig?
Yeah, I can't take the Bengals.
You can't. You
No.
can't do it.
No. The Bengals have won 2 of the last 8 in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh will be motivated regardless of what happens earlier in the day when Baltimore beats Cleveland, so they can't win the North, but they want to avoid Baltimore because Baltimore handed it to them last time. Pittsburgh did get a fortunate win. Baltimore just didn't play their game that day. A Pittsburgh loss, a Chargers win would mean Pittsburgh's going back to Baltimore. So they'd need help anyway if they were to lose. If you like Cincinnati to make the playoffs, bet the 18-1 parlay, but I just don't think they're good enough.
Yeah. I want them to. It'd be so fun.
What, the Bengals?
Yeah.
Nobody wants to play the Bengals in the playoffs.
Exactly. Okay, next up, Vikings versus Lions. This is going to be a good one. Winner gets the number 1 seed in the NFC. Loser gets the number 5 seed in the NFC, which are pretty significant stakes. Craig, what should we expect from this one?
The 14-2 Vikings. And I'm going to pat myself on the back again because I got this one spectacularly wrong. I had them as the worst record in the league at the start when we did our preseason preview. So couldn't have been any worse. This is the Sportsbook's worst nightmare. The Lions on prime time. They're the new America's team.
Yeah.
straight up, they're 5-0 on primetime this year. Against the spread, 3-1, over and under 3-1-1. And we saw last week against the 49ers. They're just the punter's dream. There were 14 favourites on the money line running onto the Lions. The SGPs all went in because there was 1 million points. Just every week, the biggest liability is the Detroit Lions and the over every single week. There's only 7 playoff games with implications, with playoff implications. 2 of those being Saturday, and the 4 Sunday matchups are pretty mid at best. New Orleans, Tampa, Carolina, Atlanta, Miami Jets, Kansas City, Denver. Mm-hmm. This one's for all the marbles: the 1 seed, the division, a bye, home field. You get to play in the dome the rest of the playoffs. I can easily see this being the number 1 handle game in the regular season for this year for Caesars. The Lions they already own 4 of the top 10. The Lions this year anyway. We're really going to need an under in this game, and a close game. As we saw, the 49ers pretty much scored at will on the Lions. They were a kicker away from actually winning the game. Minnesota are not the 49ers. They're a lot better. It'll be a track meet, unfortunately, so it'll be a case of damage limitation come Sunday night. But brilliant. The NFL's actually got the last game of the regular season to actually matter, so the scheduling gods came through.
Yeah, it's a great final game to end the regular season. Yeah. The Sunday Night Football spot was supposed to be the Seahawks-Rams, but maybe it would have still been this game. But, the Rams were able to clinch their strength of schedule tiebreaker, and we would have much rather have that game on primetime than this one. Especially
I would like to buried in a 10 a.m.
We might not have saw a touchdown in that game. Winner gets the 1 seed. I think the Vikings do have the edge in this one because they have a defense.
Yes.
The Lions' defense is absolutely running on fumes. And Dan Campbell is starting to annoy the league with his riverboat gambling. Absolutely no reason to play the starters versus the 49ers. That game was meaningless to travel West Coast and do it. And I get you want to, get your team. We're not going to have any quitting us. But this is going to come back and haunt them because you had the opportunity to rest all of your starters and you didn't, just for the sake. And they're still running hook and ladder plays. Ben Johnson's going to be leaving after this year, but they're still giving up the playoff, giving up all your plays going into the playoff. There's a point where this is just showboating to its finest, and it's starting to annoy me. So
I love it.
I love it. And I hate it.
If you're gonna be away, just be that way throughout. And he is unapologetically that way.
But this is gonna come back and bite the Lions. Give me the Vikings money line in this one.
Oh, mic drop. And I would like to put an asterisk to what Joey said. The only other reason why he did play as his starters was because he needed to win Cindy her championship in fantasy, which he did. So thank you, Dan Campbell. I appreciate you. All right. Joey, you mentioned it, but is Vikings-Lions final Week 18 the greatest matchup in NFL regular season history?
No, but it's up there. I think it's definitely, this is a point where it's not only winning a division, but getting the top seed. The stakes are about as high as you can get. But this has been a weird NFL season where it's the have and have-nots. So to me, it's not the greatest matchup.
We're 5 favorites away from having the all-time record of most favorites winning a year.
Wow. Well, we will keep an eye on that. We will track that.
Knowing the way this season's gone, that'll probably be done by 10 a.m. Sunday morning.
Yeah,
the first 2 will go in on Saturday.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, let's get into our game picks for the week. Craig, let us know where we stand. I know we're still waiting on a game tonight for Joey to have his actual score.
And myself.
And yourself. Okay.
You went 2-0 after I disrespected you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes I need that, get riled up. So just keep going.
I'd do it. Okay. You're on 20 points and you have the temporary lead.
Temporary lead.
Yes, but for a couple of hours.
Yeah.
Joey's 0-1 on the week so far at 19 points, and I am 1-0 with the same pick as Joey, so he's not getting away from me. I've still got you in my grasp. And I'm at 15. So being at the bottom of the ladder, I'll go first, I suppose.
Start us off.
Have you seen what's left of the college games this week?
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah, I looked at the slate trying to find a pick.
Yeah, so I just rolled a dice.
Yep, that's what you got to do sometimes.
And it landed on North Texas State over 62.
Like that, yeah.
But that is falling that number's going down and down.
It doesn't matter.
It's like
North
7.
Texas, yeah.
Yeah, it was like open 69, 70.
That could be over by the first quarter.
Yeah. because I'm pretty sure I picked that as an under in the start earlier in the year, and that was over by the first half. And I'm going Texans-Titans under 37. Same playbook as last week.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay.
I guess since I'm second and still pending a tie, I'll go next. With my advantaged college football knowledge, I'm going to go with the Buffalo Bulls -2.5 against Liberty.
Ooh.
Liberty without their best player on their team, Caden Salter, taking the Buffalo. I think Buffalo, if you look at a season as a whole, been undervalued in the market week after week. So we're taking them -2.5, and then we're going to go to my boy Joe Burrow. Joe to a Joe, Bengals -1.5 Saturday. Get it done. Keep the playoff hopes alive.
You are the king of chalk.
Yes, I am.
It's all right. It's all right. Okay, as Craig mentioned, real loss on this college pick. I'm going to go Duke Ole Miss under 50.5. And from another Joe and this Joe to that Joe and me just being Joe Burrow's #1 fan, Bengals get it done against the Steelers. All right, guys, that will do it for this week's episode and week 18 of the NFL season. We will see you guys again for playoff football. Guys, anything you'd like to say?
Happy New Year.
Yeah, wishing everybody a successful, safe, and happy New Year.
Yes, safe and successful. Happy betting. Enjoy this week 18, and we'll see you in the playoffs.
Yep.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.